So, guys, yesterday I made a video where I was reacting to an interview that Douglas Murray did on Sky News. And on that interview, one of the most important points that Douglas Murray made is the fact that the ANC comrades are very arrogant. These people don't mind flaunting the wealth in front of the poor citizens of this country. And it is true, we know that the ANC comrades are very arrogant. These people don't mind doing the up and down with their luxurious cars. You go on social media, these people are flaunting their luxurious homes, knowing very well that the majority of the people that live in this country are very poor, knowing that in this country we have the highest unemployment rate in the world, but they don't care about all of that. And if you look at the ANC, just because these people have actually played a role in ending apartheid, they actually feel like they are entitled to governing this country. That's why their arrogance does not go down. The ANC just lost the elections not so long ago. And you would think that for a political party that has lost the elections, these people will now start to humble themselves and say that, okay, South Africans have made it very clear that they don't want us to govern this country alone. South Africans want us to govern this country with other political parties. You would think that the ANC comrades would actually go down and humble themselves, but these people are still arrogant. These people are still arrogant. Even the president of the country is still arrogant. He's still trying to push in the policies of the ANC, despite the fact that the ANC is not the one that is making the decisions alone in government anymore. They are still pushing through with the ANC policies because they feel that we have to implement these policies. The elections, they mean nothing to us. We have to implement these policies. It doesn't matter whether people like them or what. It doesn't matter that the political parties that we are governing with them, they like it or not. We are going to push through with these policies because these are the ANC policies. So these are kind of politicians that we are dealing with. And the fact that they played a role in apartheid, I think this is one thing that actually makes them go nuts. It is one thing that actually makes them go nuts. So yesterday there was a video that actually went out on social media, and guys, you know, every time when we tell you that these people are arrogant, these people, they don't rate the citizens of this country. They see the citizens of this country as nothing. They don't respect the taxpayers of this country that are affording them that luxurious lifestyle that they are having. When we tell you these things, some of the people, they actually get pissed off. I remember even yesterday, some people would be in my emails. They will say, Thomas, why don't you say positive things about the ANC? And Thomas, the tone that you are using when you are talking about the ANC is very harsh. Guys, I was raised by my grandmother, and my grandmother was a straight talker. So growing up, I would be very sensitive when she would talk to me, when she would reprimand me. And I remember very well that one of the things that my grandmother used to say is that when you are addressing bad things, the tone is the last thing that you should be worried about. When you are addressing the evil, the tone is the last thing that you should be worried about. So guys, please, I know that some of you actually get offended when I talk about the ANC, but please do not send me the emails telling me about the tone that I use when I'm discussing about the national matters. I'm talking about the things that are affecting us as the people of this country. I don't care about these politicians. I don't care about nursing the feelings of these politicians or nursing the feelings of the supporters of these politicians. Right now, we are addressing the evil, and when we are addressing the evil, the tone is the last thing that we are worried about. When we are addressing bad things that these comrades are doing, the tone is the last thing that we are worried about. So guys, going back to the arrogance of the ANC ministers, this video will tell you everything that you need to know about the arrogance of the ANC ministers. This is the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Finance is telling South Africans that I understand that you guys are making a lot of noise about the 2% VAT increase. We know that this is just noise what you are making, because after you made that noise, we are still going to make the decision. Fine. Just listen to the tone of the finance minister.
We don't have called something deadlock breaking. We don't negotiate the budget. People are going to say whatever they say. And whatever they say, we'll listen. I'm going to say whatever they say. In the finances, there's a president in this country. We must make those policy choices. We can't have deadlock breaking machine. The president must make a choice, a decision once we're making all of this noise, and say what is best for the country. We don't have that. TG, You're going to talk what is market sensitive and your third.
Third week.
Third week. Why not? I agree with that gentleman. It gives me more time. Then not coming from holiday, I'm stuck in debating a budget.
He's telling you that he's coming from the holiday and he's stuck in the debate of the budget. How many South Africans can actually afford to go on a holiday? How many people can afford to go on a holiday? And basically what the Minister of Finance is saying is that to hell with you guys and your opinions. To hell with you guys and the work that we are doing as the government. We understand that some of the positions that we are going to take are going to piss you off. But then what can you do? There's nothing that you're going to do, because at the end of the day, we are going to implement what we wanted to implement. This is what is coming from the ANC. This is what is coming from the ANC. Just imagine this guy is saying that back from the holiday, I must come and debate the budget. Coming from the holiday. Coming from the holiday. The Minister of Finance is talking about the holiday. When you know that the majority of the people that are living in this country, they cannot even afford the holiday. And you don't see anything wrong with the people actually being furious about what you guys actually want to do. You don't see anything wrong with that. You just say that this is just noise. This is just noise. And this is the arrogance that we talk about every time when we talk about the ANC people. This is the same arrogance and the disdain that these people have towards the people of this country. How many times must these people go on national television and say things like this, and we don't say anything as the citizens of this country? Because no, they are supporters of the ANC. Oh my God, oh Punzo, no, oh, their small hearts are going to be broken because Thomas spoke about their leaders. How many times must these people come on national television and say things like this, and us as the people of this country, we cannot even say anything? This is the arrogance that we are talking about. This is the same arrogance that Douglas Murray was actually talking about, that these people are deeply arrogant. They are deeply arrogant. There are a lot of things. Guys, if we could come and actually combine the videos of what the ANC ministers have said throughout the years, you would be shocked. You would be shocked. You would be shocked.
We don't have called something deadlock breaking. We don't negotiate the budget. People are going to say whatever they say. And whatever they say, we'll listen. I'm going to say whatever they say. In the finances, there's a president in this country. We must make those policy choices. We can't have deadlock breaking machine. The president must make a choice, a decision once we're making all of this noise, and say what is best for the country. We don't.
So basically, you guys who don't know what is best for the country, the president of this country and his cabinet that cannot even afford anything right now as we speak, they know what is best for the country. They absolutely know what is best for the country. I mean, even yesterday, the president of this country was on television telling South Africans that we are broke. We are broke. The government is broke. We cannot afford anything. And I remember that I watched a video of Mike Shem, and he was actually speaking about the same thing. If you go on YouTube, you will find the State of the Nation. Let me show you. Where is YouTube? If you go on YouTube, you will always you will find the State of the Nation. State of the Nation. This is the video that I'm talking about. Guys, please, if you have time, please go on State of the Nation and actually watch this video of Mike Shem where he actually speaks about South Africa being broke. So Ramaphosa basically reiterated the words of Mike Shem to say that, guys, we don't have money to actually pay for anything. We don't have money to pay for anything, so we will have to look around and actually see. To look around and actually see. This is the president of the country, the man that the finance minister said that he knows what is best for this country. This guy cannot even manage the purses. Just listen to what Ramaphosa had to say.
But what this moment also presents to us as South Africans is to raise a level of consciousness amongst all of us as South Africans about the substance of what the minister was going to present. The substance has to do with how we fund our priorities, where we find the money to fund our ambitions. And no minister of finance ever gets to a point where they will just willy-nilly raise taxes without getting to a point where they may believe that they have no other alternatives. And I have never met a person who wants to pay more taxes in our country and I guess in the world. So nobody wants to pay more taxes. But this moment also presents us with an issue frontally that we need to confront, the trade-offs that we have to embrace. Right now, we've got limited revenue limits. Our revenue, as it stands, is not able to fund every priority, every ambition that we have. So the Minister of Finance scrounges around to find money. So, in the end, as South Africans, we therefore need to sit back and say, how are we going to stop? And I think the Minister of Finance sought to address this yesterday. How are we going to get over the budget cuts? How are we going to continue funding all our priorities?
I mean, like, how about Ramaphosa starts trimming down his cabinet? I mean, how many ministers do we have? How many ministers do we have? How many deputy ministers do we have? Why don't this guy just trim down his cabinet? I mean, talking about the pegs, why don't you trim down the pegs of the ministers, the pegs of the deputy ministers, the pegs of these DGs, the travels that is allowed for these people to go up and down with the flights in this country? How about you cut the pegs of the judges? You cut the parliamentary benefits. How about you guys start looking at the parliament and saying that, guys, there are too many people here in parliament. How about we actually work on maybe a legislation to actually make sure that there's not so many people in parliament? Because can you just imagine the kind of money that is being wasted in parliament? And when people turn on their televisions to watch the parliament, they see nothing but a clown show. This is what the people do. When they turn on their television to watch the parliament, they see a clown show. Whatever that is happening in parliament, it is not helping the people of this country in any way, shape or form. In any way, shape or form. So why must the people of this country continue to pay those clowns in parliament over 100,000 per month with all of those perks that the average citizens of this country will never smell? Why must the citizens of this country continue to do that? Why must they do that? So instead of actually looking at all of these things and all your expenditure there in the government, you say, no, we must tax these poor people who cannot even afford the basic needs. These people that are poor, they must be taxed until they die. They must not even be able to afford anything. Because everything has to, we want everything to stay the same. You look at these people, look at the blue lights, look at how many security details do these people have? How many security details do these people have? You remember yesterday, I did mention it when Rob Hershoff was actually speaking about having a lunch, and the deputy president of this country, Paul Mashatile, pulled up in a restaurant with a 10 luxury vehicle cars and 20 security personnel. 20 security personnel. And these are the things that we as other citizens, we must just say, no, we don't see them. We don't see them. We don't see them. John Cena, you cannot see me. How long do you actually expect the citizens of this country to continue doing that? No, man, these people are not even saying anything about downgrading. Sell all of those luxurious cars and get these people Toyotas. Sell all of those BMWs and Mercedes-Benzes. Get these people Toyotas, man. There's no need for the ministers to go around with 5 cars, 6 cars. You remember, guys, not so long ago, that clown, the mayor of Johannesburg was actually speaking about increasing his security detail. That guy wanted his security detail to be increased, meaning that taxpayers must continue to pay for this guy to have more security details when he's doing nothing for the people of Johannesburg. These are the things that the likes of Ramaphosa want us to not even think about, to not even talk about. It is sad, man. It is sad. It is sad. You cannot tell me that you are sitting there and standing there rather as the president of this country and telling us that, no guys, we don't have any options. No, we think that we must tax you until you die. We are not going to do anything about corruption. We are not going to even conduct investigations about these people that have been committing corruption in this country. We are not going to do anything to recoup the money that was stolen from this country. We are not going to do anything about our excessive and bloated cabinet. We are not going to do anything about any of these things, but we want you as the people of this country, to continue paying for us. You must pay for everything that belongs to us. This is Ramaphosa and his people. I'm so sick and tired, man. I'm so sick and tired of these people, man. I'm so sick and tired. I'm honestly sick and tired, man. Cut the salaries of these ministers, man, that are doing nothing. We have many ministers in this country, but the average people in this country, they don't see any changes. They don't see any changes. Cut the salaries of these guys that are running the SOEs that they cannot even run. Cut the salaries, man. Just cut and slash and slash and slash. Where is Elon Musk when we need him, man, with the Department of Government Efficiency? Where is Elon Musk? We need the Department of Government Efficiency in this country, man. You need to call Elon Musk. Cyril Ramaphosa, you need to call Elon Musk and say, Elon, please teach me how to dream. Please teach me how to actually cut the money and actually ensure that the government actually has money instead of taxing the people. This is what you need to do. Instead of demonizing Elon Musk at every single time, you must call Elon Musk and say, Elon Musk, please teach me. This is what you need to do as the president of this country. I mean, like, guys, it is insane. It is insane. It is insane. They are saying nothing about downgrading. They are saying nothing about downgrading. Nothing. Their packs must always be there. Their security detail must always be there. They must always drive around with these cars that are not even fuel efficient. You look at the cars that the ministers are driving in. You look at the cars that the MECs that are driving in, the mayors that are driving in. These cars are not even fuel efficient. They are not fuel efficient. These cars, they swallow petrol like nothing else. They swallow petrol like nothing else. Instead of getting the cars that are fuel efficient, man, just be like John Steinhazen, man. Just be like John Steinhazen, man. Just get a Toyota somewhere, man. Just get a Toyota somewhere, man, and go around with that Toyota. Why don't these people actually want to downgrade? They don't want to downgrade. They still want to appear as presidential. They still want to appear as exclusive. They still want to appear as lavish, despite the fact that the country is going down. This is what these people want to do. They want to appear as lavish. Ramaphosa, thinking about downgrading. Oh my God, the president of this country, he cannot even fathom about downgrading, man. No. But you, as the people of this country, you must continue to pay for everything that these people are having. It is insane. The people of this country, man, if the people of this country are not going to stand up and say enough is enough when these people eventually implement that 2% rate, because this is what they are going to do. They are going to implement that 2% rate. This is what they are going to do. This is what they are going to do. They are going to do that. They are going to do that. They are. And if the people of this country don't say enough is enough, I'm telling you, man, there's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can say anymore. Absolutely nothing.
The public servant salaries, the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, and the SRD, the grants that we've been paying to unemployed people. So the debate and the discussion needs to ensue around issues like that. And I do believe that leads us to a moment of becoming more economically conscious, He
says that economic conscious. Are you kidding me? Economic conscious. Are you kidding me?
More aware and knowledgeable as the people of South Africa, and be able to determine exactly how we want to give the people of this country a better life, and how we are going to proceed to deal with the challenges of low growth, of unemployment, of supporting the livelihoods of our people.
Man, don't talk about unemployment and the growth rate, because you remember even in that bogus letter that was sent allegedly to the Speaker of the Parliament, you did say that if we are going to raise the VAT rate, this actually has the potential to harm the economic growth and the job creation. So why don't these people just retire, man? Why don't these people just retire? And guys, shout out to Patrick Xaba. Patrick Xaba just sent me a video. I just sent me a video where just sent me a video where Mbeki was actually speaking about these things that we are talking about. So Patrick Klaba, shout out to you, my guy. Guys, if there's a video that you actually want me to react to, just send it to my email. If you just send it to my email, please don't go into my email and tell me that I must not be harsh, or I must not talk like this, or I must not talk like that. No, guys, let's not do that to each other, man. Let's not do that to each other.
Say
in any coalition, there will always be disagreements. Were you surprised by how things turned out yesterday?
very surprised. I was sitting at my office, had my little notebook, and I was waiting to listen to the Minister of Finance, who always has something to say. And then it never happened. So that was a very big surprise.
Yeah.
I don't think there are many countries where, certainly in the tradition of South Africa and England and so on, where a Minister of Finance announces when it's announced that a Minister of Finance is not going to give his budget.
Yeah.
That's almost unique.
And it really, I think they do admit it was a miscalculated risk, because the Minister of Finance probably thought, I get into a cabinet meeting, I present what I plan to present in Parliament, and everybody just says, kudos, go ahead. But it wasn't to be. And the main issue here is the issue of a 2 percentage point on VAT. And I indicated earlier that at the end of the day, government doesn't have enough money now, and we can talk about whether or not they've got money, they're spending it wrong, but they need this additional 60 billion rand. So where do they get it? What options do you think are available for government?
Well, one of the options government has, we have the most expensive public service in the world as a percentage of GDP, of gross domestic product of South Africa. There was a report produced a couple of years ago, looking at the wage bill of the South African government. It was produced by the International Monetary Fund. Even they were shocked. The South African public service consumes 16% of gross domestic product as pay to the public service. Similar countries to South Africa, like Thailand, Indonesia, Chile, in South America, it's only 6%. So,
I mean, guys, I find it very strange that Tlemeni Manyatela would say that we must not even look too much into the fact that these people have a bloated cabinet. These people are spending the money wrong. But we must just ensure that these people have this 60 billion that they are talking about. I mean, it is insane for you to actually expect the people not to ask questions about how the government has been spending the money and just ensuring that they have the money. So if the people are simply going to ensure that these people have the money by cutting off their arms and cutting off their legs to ensure that these people have the money, they are not going to use the money correctly. So before these people actually get this money that they need, they need to actually answer these questions that people have, and they actually need to provide that, guys, this is what we are going to do on our part. This is what we are going to do as the government. We are going to slash the salaries of the CEOs. We are going to close this. We are going to get rid of these useless ministers that we don't even know what they are doing in the GNU. We are going to cut the salaries of the ministers. These are the things that we are going to do. We are going to ensure that we don't have this bloated cabinet that cost over 1 billion rand per year. We are not going to do that, but we are going to ensure that we are doing things on our part. But for Clement to actually expect us as the people of this country to just pretend like we didn't see all of these things, or and just ensure that these people have money. It is insane. It is insane. Absolutely insane.
We have a hugely paid public service, which frankly, the question about its efficiency, the jury is out on that. But we have a hugely overpaid public service, which is a mega cost to the economy. The government can go there and reduce the cost of the public service. That would be where they should go.
The unions always say, Mr. Mbeki, that that's not really the issue according to them, because we always see, for instance, nurses are always protesting and saying, we're looking for jobs. Government often complains and says we don't have enough doctors, we don't have enough nurses. So if the wage bill is bloated like that because there's supposedly so many people who are in the state and paid by the state, then why does government often complain about the lack of people in specific sectors?
No, but it's because the government officials themselves are part of this overpaid army of public servants. You know, when you walk into parliament as a backbencher, you earn, just walking through the threshold, you earn R1 million a year without doing anything. You can just go there, go into parliament, go into your seat, fall asleep, you earn R1 million.
I mean, like, it is insane. It is absolutely insane. Like, even if you look at parliament, how many people do you know as the members of parliament? How many people do you know as the members of parliament? Some of these people, they are completely useless. Just like Mr. Mbeki is saying, these people are useless. They simply go to parliament and sit there and fall asleep. And at the end of the year, they have 1 million rands. They are earning over 100,000 rands per month to simply go there and to sleep. And these are the things that the government actually needs to look into and say that, but guys, this is not fair on the taxpayers of this country. It is absolutely not fair. It is not fair on the people that are paying the taxes to have these people that are doing absolutely nothing in parliament and getting so much money and getting the perks that even you as the taxpayers, you will never even get to enjoy the kind of perks that these parliamentarians are enjoying. And the reason why these people in government, they don't talk about the bloated salaries of the people that are working for the government. Obviously, Clement Manyatela, is because these people are working for the government. There is no way they are going to expose themselves. There is no way they are going to expose themselves. So how do you expect the people that are working for the government to now turn around and say that, but guys, let's be honest, we are overpaid here and for absolutely doing nothing? They are not going to do that. They are not going to do that. It is up to the executive to actually look into these matters. They are not going to do that.
So we have this hugely overpaid, the president of South Africa earns more money than the chancellor of Germany. Germany has an economy many times the size of South Africa. But so we have a hugely inflated, in terms of pay, of the public sector. And I'm not talking about nurses or policemen. I'm talking about the top leadership in government, in the cabinet, in the directors general, deputy directors general, the whole administrative managerial class in the public sector. That's where you have to cut. And if you cut 5% of their salary of that class at the top end, including the cabinet, you would get your 60 billion in no time.
I mean, some will argue you'll probably get about 400 million or so. It's not going to push you to 60 billion rand.
10% of South Africa's GDP, if we cut off from, in order to be like similar countries, South Africa's GDP is about, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 7 trillion rands. 10% of 7 trillion is 700 billion rands. That's what you would get if you reduce, you paid our public sector the same salary as similar countries to us. It's a lot of money.
So, and of course, in other countries, you've got, for instance, public infrastructure that is functional. I mean, when you go to Europe, you can get on trains and you pay almost nothing to move from one point to another. I suppose what also adds to the need for better salary adjustments in this country is that option doesn't exist. People are spending Some people over 50% of their salaries
No,
on
but that's
transportation.
the working class.
But then whose fault is that? Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it?
They are not the people who I'm talking about.
So right at the top. That's where
I'm
we need to
talking
cut.
about the top end of the public sector. They don't ride trains. They don't even ride cars made in South Africa. They ride fully imported cars, like the blue light brigade, so-called.
Yeah.
They don't even buy cars that are made in South Africa.
You've said this before, and I don't think government has this political appetite for government to do that. The president himself promised that I'll cut cabinet members. Has he done that? In fact, it's more inflated now with this GNU. So,
Which this is the reason why the people actually need to hold him accountable. The fact that they don't even have the appetite to cut anything for them there at the top. This is the reason why the people must say, we are not going to pay for what you want us to pay for. Because if you guys cannot even make the sacrifices, why must the average citizens of this country that are already struggling, why must those people be the ones that are making the sacrifices when the people that are at the top are not even making any sacrifices? This is the reason why the people must actually reject this plan of theirs. This is why this plan of theirs needs to be rejected by the people. Because you cannot tell me that the people that are earning millions and millions of rand, they have the money coming from left, right, and center. They cannot even downgrade a bit, but the people that are at the bottom, the people that are suffering, the people that are struggling to make the ends meet must be the ones that are bailing out the people that are making the millions. It is absolutely madness. It is madness to expect the people who cannot even afford the basic needs to bail out the people who have everything. It is absolutely madness. Let these people at the top be the ones that are making the sacrifice this time. South Africans have been making the sacrifice for the longest of time. These people, the people of this country, they have been lifting this country with their own shoulders. This country has been on the poor people's shoulders all of this time. While the elites are going around with their blue and wasting money left, right, and center. Now is the time for all of these people that are at the top to be the ones that are making the sacrifices. It cannot be that the people that are at the bottom are the ones that have to bail out the people who have everything. It is madness.
I don't think there's appetite to do that. So then where does that leave us?
Well, it leaves the ANC where it is now, with an egg on its face. It was overruled by the DA about presenting its budget. So it is now, the game is practically over for the ANC because it now is no longer a ruling party in South Africa. And that's what happened, just because they don't want to implement these painful reforms that have to be implemented in the economy.
Do you think this is an opportunity for the DA to push the ANC to implement those reforms? Because if you look at how the government of national unity has unfolded over the last couple of months after elections, the ANC has had its way almost on everything, right? Yeah. On the Bella Act, on the NHI, on expropriation, you go on and on, even when the DA was opposing. But now, the DA seems to find its voice where it matters. Do you think this is where it can push the ANC to implement those very reforms you speak of that the ANC has been refusing or not interested to look at?
Well, the leader of the DA yesterday mentioned, and I was pleasantly surprised, he mentioned the cost of the public sector bills, wage bill. He said something has to be done about it. So they now, because where is the finance minister going to get the money that he won't get since he can't implement the VAT? Where is he going to get the money from? He will either cut the services that he's providing to the people, or he has to deal with this hugely inflated public sector wage bill.
That will be.
And the DA needs to understand that if they allow the ANC to get away with this one, it is done with them. It is done. A lot of people, especially the DA supporters, a lot of DA supporters are already pissed off with the DA, with the fact that the ANC was there implementing all of these policies that the DA said, we are going to get into the government to ensure that the ANC don't implement. The DA, remember, when they were campaigning, they said that we must ensure that we get into governance with the ANC so that the ANC cannot get into governance with the EFF or Umkhonto weSizwe party. Because if the ANC gets in government with the EFF or Umkhonto weSizwe party, then the ANC is going to implement radical policies. But still, with the DA inside the government of national unity, the ANC went ahead and implemented the radical policies. So this is the last chance of the DA to actually prove to its supporters to say that, guys, we still have your back. This is the last time, because I can tell you now for sure, if the DA allows the ANC to get away with this 2% VAT rate increase, it is done with them. It is done. They have already lost a lot of supporters. You remember even John Steenhuisen came out and said that no, Donald Trump is lying and whatever. And the people of the DA, they said, John Steenhuisen, we are putting you on a warning. You cannot go out and start defending the ANC policies. You must not go there and defend the ANC policies. You are there to ensure that the ANC does not push this country over the cliff. This is your job as the Democratic Alliance. So if the DA allows the ANC to get away with this one, it is done with them. It is done. I don't see how their supporters are going to vote for them, because right now they already have the supporters that are skeptical about them, because their supporters are saying that ever since these people have been in government, they have been acting very shady. They have been very shady. They have been very liberal when it comes to these policies that the ANC has been implementing. They have not been harsh towards the ANC. And I'm happy that this time around, the DA actually stood in the way of the ANC to say that, no, we are not going to allow you to do that. Despite some people saying that, no, Thomas. I remember when I made that video of the DA basically standing in the way of the ANC. Some people said, no, Thomas, it is not only the DA. It is the DA with the other political parties. I mean, guys, this is simple math. The ANC has 40%, the DA has 20%. And other political parties in the GNU, I don't think they can even make it 10%. So the DA is the one that actually stood in the way of the ANC. Even other political parties, they can come out and say, no, it is not only the DA. But the DA's voice is the one. Because if the DA had sided with the ANC, there was nothing that these other political parties in the GNU could do. So for some reason, they like to pretend like, no, we are in the GNU and we have 15%. You have 10%. You have 22%. So it is our collective work. No, it is the work of the DA. Because the DA, if the DA had agreed with the ANC, then this nonsensical 2% VAT increase rate, it would have been implemented. But the DA said, no, we are not going to allow you guys to do that. And John Steenhuisen came out and basically took the credit to say, yes, we have the ANC by the scrotum, in the words of Julius Malema. So this is going to be bad if the ANC basically gets away with it. And not only for the ANC, but for the DA. It is going to be bad. The supporters of the ANC, they're still going to vote for the ANC regardless. They don't care what the ANC does. Don't think that the supporters of the ANC is sitting there. They are thinking about this 2% VAT increase rate and saying that if the ANC implements this 2% VAT increase rate, we are not going to vote for these people. No, the supporters of the ANC will always vote for the ANC. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Ramaphosa can shoot someone in the head and in front of the whole country live on television. And the people of the ANC, they will continue to vote for the ANC. So don't think the supporters of the ANC are going to be moved by these ridiculous moves that the ANC is doing. But when it comes to the DA, your supporters are going to punish you, because your supporters are nothing like the supporters of the ANC. The supporters of the DA are nothing like the supporters of the ANC. So if the DA allows the ANC to somehow get away with this, it's going to be bad for them, man. It's going to be bad. Very bad.
Be interesting, because if the ANC agrees to that, then you're at odds with the unions and then becomes another fight. Were you surprised though that the ANC, as a progressive and pro-poor, and I'll do that in inverted,
the ANC, it is not a pro-poor political party. It is not a pro-poor political party. Let's get that one straight.
Were you surprised that they're actually considering this 2 percentage point increase, given how vulnerable our economy is and how overburdened already South Africans are?
The ANC was pro-poor. It is no longer pro-poor. It's pro-middle class. That's why we have those huge salaries that are being paid to the middle class in the public sector. It's no longer pro-poor. That's why it can casually impose a huge cost on the poor. Because remember, who has taken the ANC from being a majority party to being a minority party? It's the poor who have abandoned it, who have stopped voting for it. So the ANC doesn't see the poor as its constituency anymore, because they feel the poor, especially the African and colored poor, they don't see them as their constituency because they are no longer voting for them.
Isn't where the ANC support has been vulnerable in the suburbs, like in the middle class? I would have imagined on the ground, in the far-flung areas, in the rural areas, that's where they still maintain some significant support.
Yes, they have support in the ANC has support in the rural area. But it is losing support in the very most important part of our society, which are the African working class in the metros. That's where the majority of the population of South Africa is. And that's where it is losing. Why is it losing support? Because it's allowing the economy to deindustrialize. So for the working class in the metros, they see unemployment rising. They see the economy stagnating. They don't see a future for their children. They see us importing more and more of what used to be made in South Africa. So it's their jobs that are now being thrown overboard, that are being sacrificed. And that's who is stopping to vote for the ANC. And the ANC, that's why the ANC can impose extra VAT on them, because they're saying these guys are no longer voting for us. Why should we look after them? Let's tax them to make up the difference that we want.
Why do you...
So basically the ANC hates the poor people in this country, man. They hate the poor people of this country.
think they're not considering corporate tax? And of course, the finance minister will give reasons around the fear that once you target corporate tax, companies also somehow respond. That's going to have an impact on our high levels of unemployment, because some are going to shut down, some are going to cut off on some employees. Was that a viable option for the ANC as well?
Well, the finance minister explained yesterday that it's not a viable option because it depends on the profitability of the companies. If companies are not making a profit, then you can't tax a profit that doesn't exist. So he was saying that's not a reliable tax. That's why he goes for a consumption tax, because we all have to consume. We have to consume something, we have to consume bread, we have to buy petrol and so on. So he goes for those which you can't remove from your budget. Then he is, but for the poor people, they are the ones where consumption is a much higher part of their budget than for the middle class.
So these people, instead of looking at other avenues, they will the first thing they will be targeting is the citizens of this country. They are not going to target themselves. They, at the guys at the top, they are not even going to target themselves. But Mbwele Zimbeki is basically talking about what we have been talking about. That guys, you there, up there, you are earning filthy salaries. You are spending so much money. The sacrifice needs to come from the top. The sacrifice, it needs to come from the top. It can be, I'm saying it again, it cannot be that the poor people of this country are the ones that will have to make the sacrifices. It cannot be. The poor people of this country, they cannot continue to bail out the people who have everything. The ANC have basically And with that speech of Ramaphosa, that pathetic speech of Ramaphosa, clearly, like, he just needs to resign at this point. He just needs to resign at this point. We need a president that is going to be bold enough to look at all of these things to say that we are wasting a lot of money here, and this is what we need to do, instead of targeting the people of this country that are already struggling. Guys, anyway, please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.